And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Home Economist. We are so glad that you are here. And tonight, with me, as always, is my sister from another Mr., Miss Leona from Ebony, Ivy, and Time.
Hello, Miss Denise, and
Um,
hello, everyone out there in cyber world.
yes. So tonight, ladies and gents, we are talking about a modern homemaking systems,
Mm.
not perfection and not hustle, but we are trying to look at systems that support real life. And that's where we're trying to be right now. Because when we think about it, homes today are so busy. And
Mm.
then many of us are in changing seasons. And then the mental load is amazing. Leona, I didn't get a chance to tell you this, but I was looking at a video earlier. I can't remember the name of the woman that did it, but she was talking about why women stop doing things. And she was
Hmm.
talking about how we just get into the groove for years, just caring for others, our families, and not just our families, but we see things that need to be done either at the church or here or there, and we do them. And then one day we just get tired.
I
And
believe that.
yeah, and I thought, oh, I can definitely relate to that. So I was
Hmm.
thinking that today's homes are so busy. And I don't know, my kids seem busier than when I was a young housewife. May not be, but it just seems that way.
It does. It does look that way, and I think part of it's because of the jobs. I
Mhm,
had a job that we went in at a certain time. You got home pretty consistently,
mhm.
and now, of course, teachers had to bring home the papers. Do that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. But otherwise, I still had time enough to do all the other things
mm,
that needed to be done in life. But it seems like their jobs never stop.
yes.
And I don't know if that's because of the job or it's because they haven't figured out how to bring it in, reel it in somewhat
Yeah.
to
I
be.
think part of it too could be that because of the internet,
Mhm,
because of email and that
mhm,
kind of thing. I know when I was first working, before we got all this email stuff,
mhm,
you would be requested to do a job and you would have 2 or 3 days to respond.
mhm,
And now, because of email and all the online presence, you're expected to respond in real time. So
mhm.
I think they're busier from that perspective. So the mental load just seems so much more. So we're going to talk about these systems tonight: food systems, home systems, and time, and then money systems as well, and how all of these work together.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. And also, things have changed.
Mhm.
Life's happened. And, so as we talk about a time when plans change, Denise, I've had days, weeks, you would think being retired that, your day would be pretty consistent and a little smoother,
Mhm.
but
Quieter.
that quiet, I don't even know what that is. And, you just, things have gotten to the point that even as retirees that we're busy. And sometimes we're going down one road thinking that the week is going to look one way and something happens, life gets to lifing, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden we have to make a quick change. And when
Yes.
that happens, it affects everything.
And I'm glad you said that because that reminds me of when we had young mom Nina on a couple
Mhm,
of weeks ago, and she talked about that, how she'll have her week planned out and
mhm.
then the plans change. So, one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is the four systems that every modern homemaker needs, which includes food, home, time, and money.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I like to think is that the systems don't exist to control us, but they exist to support us. So when life gets crazy, when life gets to life, and as you say, they're there to support us.
That's so true. Our plans change. We have sometimes, like, for instance, we got weather.
Yeah.
Weather can also change the plans. And, homemaking, like you were just saying about the lady, that she had hit a point where it was like, okay, I'm done.
Hmm.
And homemaking is not something that we're going to do for 30 years and retire.
No.
Homemaking is something we're going to have to do from now until we
Right.
can't do it anymore, physically can't do it anymore. So that's something to really take into consideration.
Yeah, definitely something to take into consideration because, like you said, homemaking is long-term work.
Hmm.
So, Leona, why don't you talk about a time when plans changed for you or life happened, and then how did a system support you?
Well, I can say, I think back probably about a year ago, the big guy wasn't well and had to go into emergency, went to the hospital. And when we came back, I'd been sitting in the hospital for almost a week.
Hmm.
So I hadn't had time to do anything. So as I walked into the door, I mean, literally the house was just left. And so that meant I needed to be able to, number one, have dinner on the table that day.
Hmm.
And for me, I needed to rely on the fact that I could open the freezer and I had food. And so that was good.
Hmm.
And so I was able to work within the pantries, get food on the table. That ease the stress of that, of being able to make sure that I could provide for him. Fortunately, the house was in good shape because that's one of the systems that we do continuously,
Boom.
some form or another, every day. So that means that, of course, my mother always had to say, you need to keep the house in order because you never know when an emergency might come and
Yeah.
strangers might have to come into your house. And that was one of those times when I'm thinking, ooh, strangers didn't have to come in, but we had to come back in. And so it was nice being able to come into a clean bed, a clean bathroom. The house was tidy, and there was food in the pantry.
And hopefully in the refrigerator. When I was thinking about like what my example might be, my first thought was going to be that when we came back from the holidays most recently, my daughter-in-law's father picked all of us up from the airport, dropped each of us off, like you're dropping off your kids at school. He dropped us off first. And so we came straight on into the house. And of course, it was time for lunch by the time we got here. And so I had options in the freezer that I could pull out. But when
Mhm.
you said strangers didn't have to come into the house, it made me think of when I had an event that we had to call 911.
Oh.
And yeah, I had been doing a laundry video and I got distracted. I can get
Mhm.
real distracted. I
No.
got distracted. And here's the thing, the video was about not mixing chemicals in the wash. Don't
Okay.
add bleach to vinegar or don't add this to this.
Mhm.
And I was talking about that. I got distracted and somehow or another I poured the bleach in. And as soon as I did that, I could,
Oh, no.
I could see the chemical, I could smell the chemical reaction.
Mhm.
So I immediately stepped back, shut
Mhm.
the pantry doors, but it was already, I could feel my heart racing and all this kind of
Mhm.
stuff. I said, babe, I think you better call 911. Because,
Mhm.
I struggle with some, cardiac
Right,
issues.
right.
Girl, by the time the folks got there, and they got there, they took care of me, I was okay, and
Mhm.
they saw all the camera lights and stuff in the living room. So number one, their question was, oh, what's all the camera stuff? So I told them what I was doing, and I said, and I was actually doing a video about not mixing chemicals, and I got distracted and poured in what I didn't mean to pour in. So they laughed about that.
I'm
And
sure.
one of the EMTs said, oh, she started asking me questions about how to wash her scrubs. But then the other thing was I needed to get my medication. They needed to see what meds I was on.
Mhm.
And my husband at this point was a nervous wreck. He could hardly talk. He was so nervous. So I
Mhm.
said, it's in the bathroom under the medicine cabinet in a drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, that bathroom is always neat and straight because that's the one people use when they come in and out. And it's kind of a narrow, slim cabinet. So the
Mm-hmm.
cabinet is always neat. It's not one of
Mm-hmm.
those black holes like you get under so many bathroom sinks.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that them strangers could go in there and pull that bag of medication out from under the cabinet and me not be embarrassed.
Aw.
Now, so I thought about that when you said strangers didn't have to come in. Well,
Mm-hmm.
depending upon what the emergency is, strangers might have to come in. And whereas it's probably really not the most important thing at the time, later on you think, oh God, I'm so glad that room was clean.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So
Oh,
now, let me ask the chat, when was a time that life got out of control and you had to use a system that helped you out in that situation? Inquiring minds want to know.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And before we move on, let me go over here and just kind of see who's here because that's always fun. So, all right. So we've got Molly
Now,
Dillard
Molly.
says
Mm-hmm.
she's looking forward to the night. Thank you, Molly. Yep, you're never too old to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Hazel. Hazel, you are so good of always being sure to join us, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Tamika's
Tamika.
back. Mm-hmm. Oh, hi, Judy.
Hey, Judy. And this is Tracy. Good
Uh-huh.
to have you here. And Dolores Wilson, thank you. And Dolores, I got your Christmas card. I had it somewhere. I was going to bring it up and show it, and then I forgot. But thank you. I did get that. And Cynthia, you know what? She's been with us a couple of times, and she
Mm-hmm.
says her plans are changing due to extreme cold coming in tomorrow. And you know,
Oh,
Miss Fiona was just asking me, well, we're getting any of this weather front that's coming through, and we're going to have cold, but we're expecting 30ish to over the next couple of days, so we're good. We had our minus 15 and so last week, but so we're good so far.
thank goodness.
And then there's Christina. Thank you for
Mhm.
joining us, Christina. We're glad you're here.
Wonderful.
Wait a minute, computer's starting to get crazy.
Okay.
There's
Got
Catherine.
Catherine.
Hello.
Hey. Got TJ.
And hey, TJ.
Mm-hmm.
And Cozy at Coco's. Thank you. I think this is
Aw.
the first time you've joined us.
Oh, that's a good idea. I love what she said,
We
that
are
we
the
are the
company.
company.
I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
Hey, Stephanie, how are you doing? And how's the fam? Let us
Yes,
know how things
yes,
are going. And then pray your way through. Hey, yeah, sometimes that's the only way you get through.
absolutely.
And then there is Celeste. Hello.
Hello.
And she's new to us too. And there's
Oh, yeah,
Debbie.
Debbie. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so okay. So now Stephanie is giving a time when when life happened and she had to figure out
Mm-hmm.
systems to cope with that. So her husband's health turned and
Mm-hmm.
she had to set up some things to help her. We understand it, we get it, and I have had you on my prayer list. So I've been praying for you
Absolutely. Me too.
and then there's
There.
Nitty T
Nitty T.
and Cozy is saying hello to everybody.
Oh, hello, hello.
Oh, hello from Southern California. They might
All
have rain
right.
tomorrow. She always learns from us. Glad to have you here. All right. Well,
Glad
we're
to
going to
have
go ahead
her.
and jump into it then. Leona, did you want to say anything else before I get into it?
Well, I'm just glad to see everyone there. And I know that when you leave tonight, you're going to have a wealth of information. This is going to be a fun evening.
Yes, it is. Okay, so,
All right.
and we got the PowerPoint slides tonight because we want to make sure that everybody could follow along and get what we're trying to do. Because what you guys see, what we're doing tonight is we are launching our Modern Home Economist 4 pillars system.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard us talking about it. Miss Leona talked about it last week. She's been mentioning it in the videos. We've been mentioning it here and there, but now we're just laying it out so that if you guys hear us, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about those food systems, Miss Denise.
Okay.
And, as you say, meal planning is deciding what to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And your meal system is how food flows through the house. And last week we talked a little bit about that and took a look at the budget meal formula, and talked about we're working the system, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that we have our groceries in place, knowing what our main groceries are. And I know we've both done capsule grocery
Yeah.
hauls, and we need to make sure that we have ingredients that work together. And of course, we called it our protein anchor, our hero protein, whatever that's going to be for the week. And always pantry first cooking, that before we go out to the grocery store or order our groceries,
Mm-hmm.
check our pantries, all of our pantries.
What our four corners pantry, which
Mhm.
includes our refrigerator, our freezer, our working pantry, and as Miss Leon said, that's the one we're in and out of all the time. Probably it's in your kitchen. And then if you're lucky enough to have an extended pantry or a prepper pantry, you want to check that one. Now, Miss Leona, can you talk a little bit about, well, first of all, I'll touch on the capsule grocery haul. We talked about that, but in our capsule grocery haul, you don't have a bunch of random ingredients. You
Mhm.
have foods that work together, that whichever one or two or three you put your hand on, you're
Mhm.
going to be able to make a meal.
Mhm.
And some of these things are going to be in your working pantry. Some of them are going to be in your fridge or your freezer. Some of them might be in your produce basket, but you're going to be able to pull a meal together. So that's why we call it a capsule grocery haul. So it's kind of like a capsule wardrobe. You got 20 pieces and you can mix and match all those peaches. Well, you can mix and match all these items. So now, can you touch on that hero protein? Because you nailed it last week when you talked about that. So they need to hear that again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The nice thing about that hero protein is that you'll decide on whatever your hero protein is going to be. Now, I like to do it in looking at it for the week. So,
Mm-hmm.
say for instance, I decide that the hero is going to be chicken,
Mm-hmm.
and we eat a lot of chicken, to be honest with you.
We do too.
And so, but because of that, every time you do a meal with that chicken, you don't want it to look the same. You
No.
want to know that when you're going to prepare that chicken, first of all, you want to make sure you prepare enough that you can get multiple meals. And I would say shoot for at least 4 meals, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
3 to 4 meals that you can put together. Now, last week we talked about the fact that you would use that protein. That was your main anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would go to your bulk builder, which is going to
Yes.
be like your beans or eggs or, whatever,
Potatoes.
rice or pasta or potatoes, bread, tortillas, your oats, whatever it is that you're going to put together with it. And you want at least one protein, at least one bulk builder. And then you're going to start to look at the vegetables. That's your veggie volume. Now, the good thing about veggies is that you can have one, but of course, our effort as far as health is concerned, we want to get in as many vegetables as we possibly can. So, and you can choose, at certain times of the year, you might be able to find lots of
Mm-hmm.
fresh vegetables. But if not, then you'll go to frozen vegetables. But you also want to have canned vegetables in
Yes.
your backup, in your main pantry, so that when you need to work your capsule grocery and use it and work that pantry, you can pull things from the pantry very easily that you can put a meal together with. And,
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on those one pot meals now since December. And so there are tons of one pot meals that you can put together for your family. Now, it only takes a certain amount of the protein. Then you're able to have enough protein to use for another day. And, it's nice to be able to do that. And that's where we talk about the freezer overlap,
Mm-hmm.
because we're going to cook enough that we have enough for that night's dinner, and then perhaps have a little bit left over so that we can put it into the freezer, or we can put it into the refrigerator perhaps for lunch, or put it into the freezer to have next week or a couple of weeks later. And especially if you have someone in your house like I do who's kind of antsy with leftovers, you do not want that to look the same. So, you know,
Yeah.
so pantry first. We want to be able to use that.
Now, when we say pantry first, too, one of the things we want you to think about is when you get ready to make that grocery list, that you have shopped your shelves. So when
Mhm.
we say work the system, you got to work that system, shop those shelves first so that you
Mhm.
know what you have, and then you're not duplicating your orders. And I will say, I have been pretty lucky. My husband will eat whatever I cook.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
never had a problem with that. Now, he might say, let's not have that again, like next day. But he'll eat it that night.
Well, yes, he will eat it because he knows I'm not going to cook another meal. But
Mhm.
you know, too, to think about the fact that it's nice when you're putting your menu for the week together, your
Mhm.
meal plan together. You also develop your grocery plan, and you're putting everything down on your grocery list that you think you'll need for
Mhm.
all of those meals. Then shop your pantry, shop your freezer, and see what you already have and mark those off the list. And I tell you what, it's amazing how much money you will save doing that, because you'll find you got these things sitting right here in your house so that you aren't going to the grocery store and buying things that you don't need.
Right. And repetition is not failure.
That's
So if on Sunday, if we have chicken, like roast chicken, and then on
right.
Tuesday, we might have Taco Tuesday with chicken tacos. I might, if I have chicken left over, we might have some roast chicken left over another day too. So,
Mhm.
you know, that's not bad to do that. And I was thinking today, like I've been creating some really interesting foods this week. Like tonight
Mhm.
for dinner, I made spaghetti squash.
Mhm.
And I made a rustic pasta sauce to go on top of that spaghetti squash with some
Mhm.
tomatoes that I had canned myself and cut up carrots, onions, celery, and put in some mushrooms in that. And
Mhm.
I pulled all that right from my refrigerator or from my pantry. The
Mhm.
canned tomatoes were on my pantry shelf, and
Mhm.
then the carrots, the onions, then the celery were in the fridge. So I was really pleased with the meal that I did. And I was like, I said, babe, I think this is the best meal I made like in a few days because it was really pretty good.
Yeah, and you know, it's so fulfilling
Mhm.
when you can look at that meal and go, "Wow, this
Yes,
was really good." And the nice thing is, you didn't have to spend any money.
exactly.
So remember that a strong food system supports the cook and not just the meal. You know, we've been talking about health care, self care, and as the cook of the
Mhm.
home, you have to look out for yourself. And so when you have things that are laid out and planned out, it makes your time in the kitchen much more enjoyable.
Mhm.
And you will enjoy going into that kitchen and actually having fun in the kitchen.
Exactly. And again, when you got that food system down, you've got your pantry, your fridge, your freezer, your four corners pantry. It really all works together. So I think, did I ask a question earlier? And did I need to go back and look to
Yes,
see what folks
yes.
said? Okay. Because if I get distracted, you gotta don't let me forget.
Well, Stephanie was the first person who actually answered. So if we go
Okay,
back
that's
to
right. So
Stephanie,
she
then we
said
know we can.
when her
Um,
husband's health turned. Okay, so then she had to.
and
Okay.
if you look,
Oh, Coco said she's been here before, but she's been more available lately. She says it's just been a while. Okay.
that's great. That's great. We're
Keep
glad to have you.
keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is Britt. Britt
Mhm.
says that she was just talking to her mom. Let me get this off there. Britt
Mhm.
said she was just talking to her mom about how her house system has been making her feel overwhelmed lately and that she needs to recreate it to make it easier. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Because when you create that house system, it's got to work for you. And if
Mhm.
it's not supporting you where you are, then yeah, you need to rework that.
And too, you shouldn't feel bad about having to tweak it
No.
because, it's not etched in stone. It's fluid enough that you can adjust and
Mhm.
make changes along the way. And so it's a good thing.
Mhm.
I know my system isn't the same as it was 20 years ago, and it's had to change.
And we were going to talk about house systems in just a minute, so keep that
Mhm.
thought in mind. But I wanted to try to get these comments up. So pray your way through says when she was admitted to the hospital for COVID, she had her aunt go to her home and retrieve items she would need. She had put the items in the same place so she was able to find them easily. That's a good idea to have a system where you always keep certain things in a certain area. Yeah, like I always kept those meds in one basket underneath the shelf in that bathroom. So EMT guy was able to go in there and find it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, let's see what else we have. Heather says she's watching us with prayers and love and agreement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And then, spaghetti squash is great with brown butter, a little lemon zest, a squeeze of lemon and Parmesan cheese. I
Ooh,
was
that
thinking
sounds.
tonight, the only thing missing off this spaghetti squash was like either some mozzarella or some
Mhm.
Parmesan cheese on top. Didn't do that though. Okay, and then Terry says a lot of us are preparing for winter storms this
Here
weekend.
we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it helps to be organized. So you don't plan on going out this weekend, Miss Fiona?
No, ma'am. I have already been to the grocery store. I went through the pantry, see what was missing, and went to the grocery store because we're looking at close to 19 inches of snow. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my.
It's supposed to be like that. So we'll see how close it gets to us. And but I know we're
Now,
not
you're
going to be
not in
going to.
Minnesota. What's the deal?
I know. But this system's coming, and we're ready to go. We're ready.
Okay. So you've got that stocked pantry, so you can stay
Absolutely.
inside for a few days. Okay. So Epineur
Hmm.
says that this live is right on time. Um, Let us know what your name is, Epineur. And that could be your name. And if I'm saying it wrong, let me know that too. But she's been praying about establishing stronger home systems. Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
that is good. That is very good to know that you're trying to do that. Okay. So
All
we
right.
had just done this one. So we are
Hmm.
going to talk about home systems, which um, evidently is quite timely right now.
I know. The good thing is that with home systems, that routines just create order. And
Hmm.
we have to remember that, we're giving ourselves some grace. So
Yes,
because of that, we're doing it without perfection. We're doing it the best we can. And we're not looking at Pinterest trying to keep up with something that we see on social media. We are trying to make it work for our family.
right. We want cozy, comfortable homes that are relatively clean, but we're not trying to pass the white glove test. If y'all need to do that, you don't need to come to my house.
Amen.
Mm.
Amen.
You know what? And I just thought about that when I talked about the white glove test, and people are probably thinking, what is that? But you know what? That just shows that we're women of a certain
Women
age.
of a
So for
certain
those of
age,
you that don't know, there was a commercial, well, back in the day,
years.
where you would see a mother-in-law come into the daughter-in-law's house, and she would have on white gloves, and she'd be like touching the top of the table or behind the pictures and seeing if there was any little dust bunnies and things like that, or if there was any dust that was on her white gloves. So it's like, I'm
Mhm.
not trying to pass the white glove test. I'm just trying to pass the eyeball test.
And and I am quick to say, if you see any dust and you say something about it, I'm going to hand you a dust rag and let you go right ahead. You can clean it up
I
because I'm
agree with
doing the
that.
best I can. Miss Janice, now, do you have a slide for the teaching points with our home system. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
here we go.
So we've got the fly lady method. Now I know Miss Denise has been a true blue worker of the fly lady system with Fly Lady Cat.
Hmm.
And I love Fly Lady. It's a series of routines, not rules. And
Right.
she's quick to tell you it's not about the perfection. You have
Hmm.
times when you can reset. And what I like about Fly Lady is that, if you have life that gets in the way, you can switch the days. And
Yes.
and it just fits so that you can adjust, and it makes it easy. But
Hmm.
it's also nice, and this has worked for me, is the fact that you have zones that you work on and focus areas, and you also have a whole house reset that you do, basically the whole house blessing. And the nice thing about that is that your house stays reasonably straight
Right.
all the time, and it makes it very nice. And it's nice to be able to, even I found that I could come home from work, grab a dust rag, and while the dinner was cooking, I could whip, and do a quick sweep and make sure everything was in order. So that's a lot of fun.
Well, and not only that, but now the Fly Lady system is one that we are both familiar with. But
Mhm.
you out there may have other systems. So let us know what your system may be, because this isn't the only one, but this is one that changed my life because I was always real scattered. I was always busy, and I always felt like the house was a mess. And I remember when we had the twins, and our first set of children were twins. So I was completely overwhelmed. And didn't have a system on how to stay on top of things, and barely knew what I was doing with them babies, let alone how to manage a house. But it really helped me to realize that if you have a system in place, then
Mhm.
it just gives you a starting point. So, for example, when we came back from out of town on the holiday, we got back on a Monday. And on Mondays, I typically do the weekly home blessing. But since we got back from the holiday on a Monday, we had luggage to unpack, stuff to throw into the laundry, try to figure out lunch, different things like that. I wasn't about to try to do a weekly home blessing that day.
Mhm.
So having a system that is flexible, I could say, well, skip the weekly home blessing this week, pick it up next Monday,
Mhm.
or Tuesday is my free day. I could make today my free day, make tomorrow the weekly home blessing, but you can move things around
Mhm.
to make them work for you. And the important thing is that where I got here, where it says reset points, one of the things that Fly Lady Cat talked about is a clutter stop.
Mhm.
And she would say 3 times a day, do a clutter stop, which is when you check your flat surfaces or those places where you tend to set things where they don't belong, after breakfast, after lunch, and before bed. Just kind of check to see, did somebody set something on that table or whatever, and either remind them to pick it up, or you pick up something you might have set where it shouldn't belong, that kind of thing. And just kind of, do that clutter stop. Some people might call it a tidy up. I know one of the things that I used to watch my daughter do was every night before she went to bed. Now, this was when she was married with children,
Mhm.
and because she certainly didn't do this at home. Hopefully, you're not listening. One of the things that she does at her house before she goes to bed every night, she walks around the kitchen, makes sure everything is put away. She checks the living room, makes sure all the pillows and cushions and everything is put
Mhm.
where it belongs, so that when she goes to bed, it's nice and neat. So when she gets up in the morning, she can hit the ground running. Remember, she's the one that talked about pre-plan your day. And so that's part
Mhm.
of her activity, is making sure everything is all nice and neat before she goes to bed. And then, and we'll probably talk about this more closer to March, but maintenance versus deep cleaning. When
Mhm.
you're doing those daily routines, you can keep things picked up. Things look nice and neat. And that's your maintenance cleaning. Now, the
Mhm.
one thing I like about Fly Lady is there was no real spring cleaning needed, because you did deep cleaning every week, but you picked
Right.
one area to do that, whereas other people may choose to do that differently. But
Mhm.
it's okay as long as you have a system that works for you. So,
Mhm.
baby girl, think about what system how do you need to tweak that system to make it work for you? And if you
Absolutely.
have an aha moment, let us know in the chat. Because I don't remember her name, who said that she's trying to tweak her system. That's why I called her baby girl. And it's not
That
what
was
you
hold on. That was Brit.
Brit.
Uh-huh.
Brit.
She's trying to recreate to make it
You can,
easier.
yeah, recreate that system, tweak it, or you can consider looking at the Fly Lady too, because it's very
Mhm.
easy to adapt. But think about, what do you need to do differently to get what you want? Because it's not about perfection, it's just
That's right.
about
That's
progress.
right. That is so true. So true. And if you fall off, and sometimes you're going to have weeks where the kids are
Mhm.
busy, you're busy, hubby's busy, whomever's busy, and it just seems like the week is a mess.
Mhm.
And when that happens, the next week you get back on track.
That's right.
And so that's the nice thing, is that nobody's judging.
Mm-mm.
Nobody's looking at you on Sunday night going, I can't believe you didn't clean that house. And, nobody's sitting there doing that other than
No,
you
other
thinking
than
it to
you.
yourself. And I know, because I've been there, where you have your own guilt. But
Mhm.
the reality of it is that no one pays that kind of attention to it. So, our houses, we try to keep them as caught up as possible, and just to stay on track.
Mhm. It's about staying on track.
Absolutely.
Okay, did someone say, let's see if we have any more comments that I need to.
If you go down to, is it Epipreneur?
Oh,
She,
yes.
she's
She's Danny.
Danny.
Okay.
Okay,
Epipreneur.
Danny.
Danny. Let me write that down so I don't forget. Sometimes just write that down helps me to remember. Okay.
Okay.
And Debbie says her best friend and family live in Richmond, Virginia. Oh, so you're in Virginia too. So
She's in
all
my
y'all
neck
get
of the
some nice
woods.
things.
Hmm.
I keep saying, y'all not Minnesota. What's the problem?
I know.
Minnesota
Minnesota's
would say,
coming to
okay,
us.
par for the course, but it's like,
Oh,
but
oh, I love it. I love it.
yeah, Queen Agers, I'll take it.
I
I'll take
will
it.
too. I love that.
Yeah, I like that. Let's see. Michelle's from North Carolina.
Hmm.
Oh, Tracy. So she says when she first heard me say weekly home blessing, she thought you would give thanks to our Lord for house and home. Well, you can certainly do that. Here, let me get this off the screen real quick.
And we do that.
And we do that. But yes, you can certainly do that. Um, but what she means by a weekly home blessing is a series of 6 small actions that just help keep
Mhm.
things nice. 6 little, what Friday Cat calls baby jobs. So, like,
Mhm.
the first job is you're going to strip your bed and you're going to throw those sheets in the wash.
Mhm.
You're going to empty all the little trash cans around the house.
Mhm.
And then you're going to sweep the floors in like your main areas, like the
Mhm.
kitchen, the hallway, the bathrooms. Then that's another task. You're going to mop the floors in the kitchen and the bathrooms, but and you're only going to take like, no more than 10 minutes for each task. You're going to wipe down the glass, like
Mhm.
not all the windows and all the mirrors and all that, but the glass where people's like fingerprints and stuff are all the time. Maybe the bathroom mirrors, you wipe those down.
Mhm.
Squish and swipe in your bathroom, and when you vacuum, you're not trying to make streaks and perfectly beautiful patterns in the carpet, but you're just vacuuming the main walkways. You're just kind of doing it real quick and
Mhm.
get it out of there. So it shouldn't take you more than 1 hour to
That's
do
right.
those 6 little jobs, and you'd be amazed at how neat your house can look at the end of that. But yes, and as you say that, I'm thinking maybe I should be doing and giving thanks as I'm doing that Monday morning. This certainly could be something we could add to that routine.
That's true. That's true.
And then Relax Bubble. Oh, she's
Okay.
from
Steph.
California. Steph.
Relaxed.
Okay.
Okay. Steph. Okay.
Yeah. So again, though, the system isn't about staying caught up because sometimes life happens and we're not caught up.
Mm-hmm.
As Stephanie can attest to, when life happens, we're not caught up. But it's knowing how to get back on track. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I would talk when I was working with my young clients is I would tell them, just step in where you are. Don't feel like you have to catch up
Mm-hmm.
with whatever you didn't get done. No house blessing on Monday. Okay, go to Tuesday. Tuesday's free day. Do your laundry. Take the rest of that day free. Wednesday, start in on Wednesday's particular task.
Mm-hmm.
So just get
Absolutely.
back. Step in where you are.
Yes, that's a
Okay.
good thing.
hmm So next up, we the next pillar. So we look the pillars we looked at so far is food.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of our systems.
Mm-hmm.
Second pillar we've looked at is home. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
our pillars. And so this next one is time. Time. And that's one so many people struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
And when they say if you don't plan, then you plan to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things to think about is that a time system fails when there is no margin. So now what do we mean by a margin? Well, margin is going to be that white space, the unscheduled time that is on your day, on your planner or your notebook, however you plan to use it. But it's the time that you don't schedule so that when life happens, you've got some flexibility built in and said, okay, so this happened this morning, so I need to take care of this. And then I can just move this, to another day. And just like the day when the cat was sick and cat was pooping everywhere, whatever I had planned to do that day was off. It's like, okay, we're gonna take care of the cat, get the cat to the vet, get the house cleaned up where the accidents happened, and then the next day we'll try to get back on track. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's about getting back on track and that kind of thing. So
And also think, as I'm looking at the anchors where you've got meals, work, school, and for many of our followers, your anchors you have to think about may be slightly different because some of our followers have to travel for work. So in addition to trying to handle the work, the meals, the work, the school, you may have travel that's even stuck in there that can also throw your system off. And
mhm,
so if you work a long distance away from home, then as you look at those blocks, you got a time block that's
mhm.
in there. And of course, you should be focused on traffic if you're driving and
Yes.
those kind of things. But you may be able to, that may be your time for your self care where you're listening to a book, but you may be able to use that time effectively so
Mhm.
that it's not just open time, but it's good to have a little flexibility. I
Yes.
call it, have a little fluid in there so that should the children go to school, somebody gets sick. I had a friend today, we were working at Bethel and serving, and her grandson got sick, so she had to stop what she was doing and go and get him,
Mhm.
because the school had called. So that threw her day off.
Yes.
She said, oh man, now I've got to try to work out. I've got to shuffle things around.
Mhm.
So, as moms, as dads, as we're looking at whatever that schedule is, the best laid plans can get adjusted. And
Right.
that's the advantage of having the blocks with a little bit of flexibility so you can adjust.
And when we talk about blocks, one of the things we're talking about is like maybe a block of 8 to 12 or 8 to 10, but
Mhm.
8 to 12 might be a good one. But you're planning 2, 3, or 4 hour blocks to get a range of several different tasks done so that if you end up with them done sooner, you've got a little bit of free time. That's good. But what you don't want to do is have every single hour planned. every single hour plan. That you don't want to have happen.
That's stressful.
And the other thing here is that you want to make sure that you are prioritizing what it is that absolutely, positively have to get done. Because you can be busy,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be busy all day and think, gosh, I've been busy all day. How come I don't feel like I got anything done? Because you didn't get the priority things done.
That's right. That's right. I know I like to get most of my work done by 10.
Mhm.
And so that may mean that I may have to get up a little bit early, an hour early, so that I can take care of myself. Because, in all of this, and this is another thing that Fly Lady also talks about, is that we need to get ourselves up. We need to be able
Yes.
to get ourselves up, get our showers, get dressed, so that when we walk out of that bathroom, we are ready for the day. And then if you want to have quiet time before everybody gets up, it
Mhm.
gives you a chance to have some meditation time or do your exercises or whatever it is that you need to do. But you kind of have to schedule that in and get up with purpose.
I agree with that. You can definitely have to schedule it in and get it in with purpose. And I think I'm so glad you mentioned that we do need to plan some time for ourselves, and that if we can get up and get ourselves taken care of,
Mhm,
then we're prepared, we're ready when our family gets up.
mhm.
So, and even when it's just you and him at home.
That's right. That's right. Well, the thing of it is, you never know, and an emergency is just that.
Yes, that's true.
Or if someone calls and says, can you come immediately, even if it's your next door neighbor may need something.
Mhm.
And, you don't want to have to stop, go take a shower and get your clothes on. By the time you get there, it may be too late.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you can step out and are with your children. Maybe the bus doesn't come or they miss the bus. You need to be able to get in the car and not have to go in your rollers.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't want to go in your rollers. So yeah. So let's see. I don't think so. When we're looking at working the system here, I think it's really important that we're looking at that time business, and keep it in mind, a time without margin isn't a system. It's a schedule waiting to fail. And remember, margin is that white space, that buffer, those empty spaces in your day that you plan so that if life happens, you've got a little bit of leeway.
That's true. That is so true. And our homes, time really, I like the way you have it on this screen, because with time in the middle,
Oh,
because
oh, oh, oh.
time is affected by, well, every system is dependent on time.
Mm-hmm.
Time is a part of all of it. It's a
Mm-hmm.
part of the food system. It's a part of the home system. It's even a part of the money system. They all work together.
I
Time
didn't
is money,
know that. I
you
should have
know?
put an arrow up there going to money. You're right.
Time is money. And
Mhm.
so we want to make sure that just like we're careful, in our jobs outside of home, we want to be careful with what we're doing within the home as well.
Okay. And the thing I think that we want to talk about too is that none of the systems work in isolation.
Mhm.
So if you take a look at this particular slide, you can see that we've got the four pillars there, but they're not like shown equally. So when we look at the food systems right here, they're the routines and the decisions that determine how food flows through your home. It's not about recipes or cooking from scratch every night, but it's about reducing the daily decisions and the stress. So I was thinking today that I should have wrote down all the things that I cooked last week and all the things that I'm cooking this week, so that next week I can just pull from the menu that I've already done, because I've been cooking a little differently this week as we've been on the Daniel fast. And I thought, oh, I should have just wrote all these things down so that I can just pull my list out, and easily be able to determine that. But I did purchase food that would support the entire process.
Mhm.
So the system that I picked up would work for each night. And the other thing about me writing down the list and being able to just repeat something from this week or last week, it reduces the amount of decisions that I have to make. So
Mhm.
a food system might include a capsule grocery haul, using one protein or one hero protein for multiple meals, pantry first cooking, freezer cooking, or repeating simple meals each week. But a strong food system supports the cook and not just the meal.
That's right. That's right. That hits it right there. And, that's powerful, that as we're working that food system, we also have to look at the home systems
Mhm.
because of the fact that the home systems are the routines that are going to keep your house functioning without requiring perfection. No one in your home is looking for perfection. And, these are the daily, the weekly, the seasonal rhythms that you're using to help you manage your cleaning, your laundry, like the cleaning. You might get into the Fly Lady system, or you may have your own system that works for
Mhm.
you, depending upon what you do daily. I know I like to do the morning swish and swipe. I
Yeah.
like to make sure the bed is made up before I walk out of the room. Doing laundry a load a day from one in one out,
Mhm.
and or you may have certain daily tasks that you may do within the household, or like we talk about our morning and evening routines even here in the kitchen.
Mhm.
So a true home system allows us to step out when life happens. We can do it, and we can step back in and do it without any guilt. And that's a good thing. And that's pretty much like the Fly Lady system. So
Mhm.
systems aren't about keeping everything spotless. It's about knowing how to reset.
Mhm.
It isn't about staying caught up. It's
Nope.
about knowing how to get back on track.
And I think that is so important, knowing how to get back on track. Because I know sometimes, let's say after a holiday and your kitchen is a
Mm,
wreck because you've had a bunch of people over for dinner.
mhm,
So now you've got all these dirty dishes to clean up and pots and pans and different things. And you just have to have a system in mind as to, okay, so what do I need to do to manage this? Rather
mhm,
than feeling overwhelmed or getting panicked, you just kind of start, okay, so I'm going to stack all the dishes over here. Going to
mhm,
get all the food put away so that all the bowls that I need to clean, whatever, that's going to go here. Going to get all the pots and pans here, get the counters and all that wiped down, and then just start loading the dishwasher. Or if you've got to wash them by hand, start washing a set by hand. But just figuring out how you're going to attack that
mhm.
chaos just
Yes.
helps just to slow it down just a little bit.
And one thing to throw in with that is the fact that some of this, especially when you have major events that may be at your house, and I don't mean major events, it could be the family coming over to watch football, but
Hmm.
still, you've got extra things that are scattered about. Those are some of the things that you want to think about before they get there.
Yes.
How you're going to handle it, what you're going to do, what your plan is, and work it from there. Because then what happens is that when the evening's over with, you have a plan in mind.
Hmm.
And that is very calming, very reassuring for you. And it just makes you enjoy the whole process of having everyone over because
Yeah,
you've got a plan to put it all back together.
I agree with that. And then this one here in the middle, as you said, it affects both food, home, and money because you do need to take the time weekly or bi-weekly, however it is you plan your budget, to plan your budget and then to review your budget and then to check to see if you stayed on track with your budget.
Mhm.
So yes, so we're a supported home and the outside is the home, then you've got your money systems, which affects all of these. So money is like the supporting character in every one of these systems. And money is even a supporting character in the time system because, like you said, time is
Mhm.
money.
That's
But
right.
depending upon how much money you have, you may be able to afford to have someone come in and assist you with home keeping and that kind of thing. Or it may help you to be able to send the child to daycare 2 or 3 days a week for a
Mhm.
few hours a day. So you can have a little time to yourself, that kind of thing. So it definitely is interwoven in everything.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
true.
yeah, and then keep it in mind you got that white space built in on your calendar. So it needs to be flexible.
Oh yeah, and money is something that you can set and decide what your budget is going to be, and that's the part that you're in control of. And so, I've noticed that because I've been more focused on staying planned. And right now, for the next 21 days, we're eating a little differently. So,
Mhm,
because of that, I made sure that I purchased what I needed. I was able to stay within the budget, haven't had to buy any more food for, this particular plan. And because I have everything already here, I've got the menu already planned. And so, the money system helps, that helps because then, if I need, like in this case, we had what, 3 weeks almost
mhm,
of the Daniel fast. And so because of that, I was able to look at the dollars that were planned for that time period and use only what I needed to support what I was doing.
mhm.
And then you can look at what's left over. And
Yeah.
that's nice because that either allows you to put that money toward restocking your pantry or putting some extra things into your extended pantry for those moments like what we've got coming up in Virginia, where we're going to have a winter storm. So there's going to be some things that I need to make sure that I have in the house just in case. Or for those who are in Minnesota or that area, they have certain things that they're going to need. And so that helps us to be able to do that without breaking the budget.
Well, an additional thing you're going to probably have to have is somebody to come out and do snow. Since that's not something you guys normally do, you may or
Mhm,
may not even have snow removal equipment, or at least to handle that much snow.
mhm,
So, but if we get 3 inches or more, my husband has a guy comes out and shovels the driveway and
mhm,
does the walkway for us. Now, he used
mhm.
to do that himself. Now, he's
Yeah.
got a snow blower and all of that, but
Mhm.
he used to do all of that himself. But now, like he's a man of a certain age. So
Yeah.
he don't need to be out there doing that kind of work now. So he's got a
Mhm.
guy that comes over. So that's money we have to plan in the budget. Snow
Absolutely.
removal
Mhm.
seasonally. Now in the
Yes.
summertime, when mowing the lawn and all that, he manages all that unless we go
Mhm.
away. Then we have to have someone come over and do it for us. But
Mhm.
this is probably an unexpected expense for you guys.
Well, yes, yes. But, we always try to make sure that we've got a little stash,
Hmm.
so that just in case
Yeah.
we can pull from that, and if we're not really having to use the main flow of our money
Yeah.
system.
Okay.
Yeah. So keep in mind that your money systems are going to protect your home.
Hmm.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
So, shall we ask the big question?
Yes.
Which of these systems feels hardest to you? Those of you who are in the chat or on the replay, is it food? Is it home? Is it time? Or is it money? And, depending upon where your life is at this particular time, it may be at a different place
Hmm.
because I know mine has changed over the years. We go
Hmm.
through seasons. It's like waves, as you go through. Sometimes it's the food, sometimes it's a home, sometimes it's the time, and sometimes it's the money.
Yeah, you're right. It does go through seasons. And I'm thinking about like when we were young married, money was the hardest thing
Yes, it
because
was.
you're young, you're broke,
Hmm.
and I know it was the hardest thing for me to learn how to manage a checking account, how to
Hmm.
manage a checkbook and balance the checkbook and all that. I was at the bank every other week with the people helping me sort things out, but I've learned how to manage that piece now. And then when the kids came, trying to figure out how to manage work and kids and home and all of that, how to keep time, So as we go through different seasons, different systems seem to pull on you a little bit differently.
That's true. That's true. And with I think time has been the biggest
Hmm.
because I like you early on. I had to go back to school and work on the
Hmm.
masters, and so I was working. I had two children under two. I had
Ooh.
uh, hubby who traveled. And of course, you still have the normal things. You got the food, you got the home. And what we were having to do is that I would come home, pick the kids up from daycare, swoop them off because I had class, hand them off to hubby, and head to class. When I got home from class, I had to cook dinner for the next day at 9 o'clock at night. And
Oh.
so that he could come in the evening and he would have food ready for the kids. And
Hmm.
so that was one of those times that at that point it was hard and it was stressful.
Yeah, it was stressful. And I tell you what, like now, when I look at what's hardest for me now,
Hmm.
probably is time.
Hmm.
Because, you think that being retired, you just got all day to do things, but
Mm.
you fill up those time blocks with other things. So I'm
Mhm.
doing things in my life now that I didn't do before. And TJ, you're on like what I wonder what time is like for you with four littles.
Oh.
And, I can't remember now. I think you're homeschooling.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then for those of you others that are out there, so are you, what's hardest for you? If you're homeschooling, how does that affect the time that you have during the day? And some of you, I know you're in that stage that where money is an issue. And with the changes in SNAP benefits too, how has
Hmm.
that affected you from a monetary standpoint? So let us know in the chat, or if you're in the comments, which system feels hardest for you right now?
Well, Miss Denise,
Oh,
I'm just kind of glancing over here in the chat, and
okay.
seemingly time and seems to be a big topic of home and time. And I know Danny was saying that both home and time are just kicking her tail right now. And so those are things that it's important. It's
Mhm.
important.
Okay, Hazel, definitely time. She needs to get better with managing her time.
Mm.
And let's just also add the biggie in here too. When we look at time, let me get that off the screen. I have to keep remembering to get that off the screen. When you look at time, don't forget to put yourself on the list, and not
Mhm,
just on
mhm,
the list, at least close to the top of the list, because you gotta make time for yourself. I know this week I've been trying to do that Tai Chi thing you've probably seen all over YouTube, do the little Tai Chi walking or whatever.
uh-huh,
Well, I bought that little program and I try to
uh-huh,
remind myself to do it every morning.
mhm,
And most of the time I do, but it's like, oh, well, I got to go to see the nutritionist this morning, so I don't have time to do that. Nope, you get up early enough so you can get that
mhm,
done. Well, I need to get my video done, so maybe, and like, nope, you got to,
mhm,
take care of yourself first. So
mhm.
for me, sometimes reminding myself to take care of me first is an issue. So definitely, I've got to get better at managing my time, but also the time for me. So how
Yeah,
about you guys out there?
I think that's true. We tend to push ourselves back and figure we can handle everything. Oh, we'll get to it, you
Mhm.
know, but it doesn't happen.
Oh, Christine, thank you for saying this. She loves this content and both of our channels. So let me just say, if you're new here, I forgot. I told you I'll get distracted. If you're new here, I'm Miss Denise, and my channel is Homemaking with Denise. And with me is Miss Leona. Let me get that out there, and you can see.
Mhm.
With me is Miss Leona, and her channel is Ebony, Ivy, and Time with Leona. So we are actually two different channels.
Hmm.
On Wednesday night, we are one, and we are the Modern Home Economist. Modern
Absolutely.
Home Economist.
Economist. That's it. And
Yes.
it is going to be. This is something that I was talking to one of our subscribers earlier this week, and letting her know that she was sharing with me a couple of things, and I shared it with Miss Denise, and I was telling her, I said, I really appreciated what she said in that it just confirmed what we've been doing and
Yes.
what we've been thinking. And, in talking to both TJ and talking to Nina, we're looking at our young homemakers, and some of us who are here in the chat are probably may not be are the same age as we are,
A
but
seasoned
close.
homemakers.
It doesn't matter. But still, if you're trying to keep a family going and trying
Mhm.
to work that family, that it's important that we try to work these four systems as
Yeah.
efficiently as we can, and to get it to a point where we can do it easily. And
Hmm.
so, whatever way, if we have to write it down, we write it down. If we have to, if you can do it on your phone, then use your phone. But we certainly need to be able to work our systems.
So Sierra says, hearing about system convicts her in that the Lord is teaching her right now, make systems
Mm,
work for her,
mhm.
opposed to trying to change her life to work for certain systems. Yes,
That's right.
systems are meant to be flexible, not rigid. They're meant to
Hmm.
support you, not you support them. It's
That's
meant
right.
to support you. So, Sierra, I'm glad that what we said helped you with that.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into and remember what we told Nina the other week. Be
Mhm.
able to say no.
Yes.
Sometimes your life gets full, and it's because we allow it.
Mhm.
And I'm guilty. I'm going to step up already. But we also have to be able to say no and say it
Yeah.
graciously. But we have to think about what
I'm
we
sorry,
need
but
to
that
do.
won't work for me right now.
That I just can't do it right now. But I appreciate you thinking of me.
Mhm. And so Danny says home and time are kicking her tail. So Danny, just kind of think about how you can make those systems work for you. What little tweaks do you need to make? And remember, it's not about perfection. It's
That's
about being
right.
cozy and comfortable. Also, Debbie says they get hurricanes in Florida, but the same with snowstorm. It's best to keep non-perishables stocked in the pantry. The
Mm-hmm.
dates on the cans and bottles with the Sharpie, yes. Rotate oldest to the
Oh,
front.
mm-hmm.
And then
Steph.
Steph says
Huh?
daily deciding what is clean enough is her greatest challenge these days. What's clean enough? Hmm,
Clean enough. Okay. What's clean enough is probably what makes you happy.
true. Yes.
What
You're
makes
right.
you happy, and our what works for the family. Do I need to have a pledge polish every day? No.
No.
No. But do the books on the coffee table, do I want them straight? Yeah. Okay.
Mm,
I can go through and do that. That's a 2 second,
mhm,
get it together, get the magazines where they're supposed to go. Uh, Clean enough might be just making sure that if you have blankets or throws that they're folded and put on the couch, that's
mhm.
clean enough.
Yeah.
So that someone could walk into your house and they're not going, "Oh my gosh, what in the world?"
Yeah. And so Steph, you're going to have to make a decision on what clean enough is, so
Mhm,
that you're not making yourself crazy.
mhm,
Because you
mhm.
can make yourself crazy by trying to be a perfectionist. But remember, if the home doesn't make you feel warm and cozy, you're doing something wrong.
That's right.
You want to be comfortable. You want to be able to sit down and relax
Mhm.
and enjoy your home, not feel like you have to rush around and clean up every little speck of dust that you see.
That's
You want
true.
to be comfortable, and you want the people that come in to be comfortable as well.
Mhm.
So try to think about that. Let us know what we can do to kind of help you get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's see.
We've got a lot of time. Okay.
Oh. Oh,
Oh,
yay. Oh,
congratulations.
yes.
Oh,
Hooray.
that's
So,
wonderful.
Sierra, oh, that is so
That's
nice.
fantastic.
Congratulations. Oh, I remember when we bought our first home. It is
Mhm.
such an exciting time.
It is.
Congratulations. She's going to have a
Yay.
lot of fun planning and decorating, and she's going to spend a lot of time looking at Pinterest.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
just
yeah.
remember, you may not necessarily have Pinterest budget. You have to think about what
Mhm.
works for you, what
Mhm.
works for your family, and where are you right now in this situation? You're buying your
Right.
first home. You're probably a young family.
Mhm.
So you guys are just getting started with some of these things. So, oh, I'm so excited. That is
That's
so nice.
wonderful.
So glad you're sharing that
Wonderful.
with all of us.
Oh,
So
I
one of
love
the
it.
things you're going to want to do is begin to develop your systems,
Mhm.
particularly your home systems, your home management system. Oh, that's so exciting.
It is exciting.
Oh, speaking of, my niece had her baby. She had a little boy.
Oh,
Last week on the show last Wednesday, we were
mhm.
talking about that. She
Mhm.
had a little boy. His name is Miles. Beautiful, fat little
Oh.
face. She ended up having a C-section.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she ended up having a C-section because, she just wasn't progressing. But
Mhm.
they're home now. They went home yesterday, I think. And so
Oh,
they're doing well. Baby's doing well. Mom's doing well.
good. Good. Oh, that's
New young
fantastic.
family developed, just made there. And now we've got
Mhm.
this family here just getting their first home. So it is so
Oh,
exciting.
that is fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
And Sierra, also let us know whatever we can do to help
Yeah.
you and, as you work through trying to get your home ready.
So blessings. Congratulations.
Yay.
Congratulations. So people are saying congratulations. They're very happy for you, Sierra.
Mhm.
It is just so exciting for
It
that.
is.
So, oh, and Debbie said it's good news about the baby. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just so exciting. I just love seeing new families when they
Mhm.
emerge, when they are made, and young couples are when they kind of start on that journey. I think
Mhm.
about, oh gosh, I was there once upon a time, but
Once upon a time.
yeah, once upon a time.
Absolutely. And it was exciting.
It was. All right. So I
All right.
think one of the things that we want to do just again is just to revisit the
Mhm.
four pillars of the modern home economist system. And as you see again, once again, we've got money as the surrounding framework around this whole house. So depending upon how much money you have, so Sierra, these are things you guys are going to be thinking about. You said they accepted your escrow, so that
Mhm.
determined what house you could even purchase. And so
Mhm.
now you've got the purchase made. So you'll be looking at your food systems,
Mhm.
all of your home systems. You can see how money supports them, your
Mhm.
time, and then you see money is underneath each one. This is a little gear,
Yeah.
like a little gear systems gear on your phone and stuff.
Mhm.
And then here's your house and it's sitting on top of money. You got your time sitting on top of money, and then you got your food sitting on top of money. And
Mhm.
it's the system that protects the whole house from panic and from pressure.
Absolutely.
So your food system is going to reduce your decisions and decision fatigue.
Mhm.
Your home systems is going to reduce chaos.
Mhm.
Time systems reduce pressure. And then money system reduces anxiety.
Absolutely. And one thing too, Sierra, to keep in mind, I know it was hard reeling myself back in when you think about that new home,
Mhm.
but use what you have
Yes.
until you build the money that you need. And I'm sure you probably already know this, but you don't have to go out and try to have that Pinterest home overnight. And so You want to be able to build a system, build a home that works for you and your family, and to do it in a way that keeps everybody balanced and without anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you'll work it out, and what a blessing to see
Mm-hmm.
all of this come together.
Yeah. So you can see in their picture here, it looks like they're in the church.
Yes,
Oh, yeah. So it looks like you guys are getting a little blessing all the way around.
absolutely. God first.
Yes. And then more congratulations are in the chat. So Sierra, be sure to check the chat out so you can see where people have congratulated you in that. But keeping in mind that when one system is weak, the others might feel a little bit heavier
Hmm.
until things start to balance out again. So if this conversation helped you guys, um, let us know. But here's the thing. Start with just one system if need be. If things are a little bit off for you, think about starting with one system and going from there.
That's true. That is so true. And decide which one needs to work first.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, your food
Prioritize.
systems is that has to go all the time. And of course, your home system needs to, in some form, needs to work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as you do that, of course, time is going to be of the essence. So just, you might have to sit down and write it out. Sometimes writing it out helps you to see what it is. And especially, with Sierra, you and hubby sit down and put it all down on paper. Where do we need to go from here? And work within it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. That's a lot of fun. And remember, you don't have to be perfect.
Nope. Don't have to be perfect. So if you guys found this helpful, be sure to check out our show where we did 7 practical ways to become a modern home economist. And see, that's the thing. We are trying to encourage all of you to become modern home economists.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also take a look at both of our 20-item capsule grocery haul.
Mhm.
And, it's funny because as we've been eating differently over the past couple of weeks, our 20-item capsule grocery haul has had to adjust just a little
Yes.
bit. But that's okay because it's flexible. And, but you do want to make sure that you have a pretty solid capsule so that you can make quick adjustments and
Okay.
have that pantry and food system and resources ready. And we looked at that pantry and food system in actually Miss Denise has a video that she did about her pantry.
Mhm.
And I know I did one where we're working through the baby steps this month of
Mhm.
getting our pantries in order. And I know a lot of you are working through your pantries as well. And I really appreciate hearing from you
Mhm.
along the way.
Definitely. Debbie says that always budget the money coming in so as not to overspend. And some people have champagne taste on a beer budget, and that's when they get in debt. My
That's
dad used to say, you got Rockefeller taste on a Nixon budget. Yeah, that's what he used to say. Because, Rockefellers were the most richest people in his day. My dad's been gone for a while, but that's what he used to say. But yeah, champagne tastes on a beer budget.
beer budget.
So that can be a problem. So you just have
That
to
can.
know, like what your budget is and try to live within that and learn how to manage a checkbook. It
Yeah.
took me a long time to learn that skill set.
Yes, yes, yes. It is hard and hard to say no to yourself.
Mm-hmm. So Debbie learned to squeeze a penny. And so, yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And keep in mind, for those of you who are working on your food systems, if you haven't had a chance to go to Etsy, I have the budget meal formula out
mhm,
there for you to be able to pick up so that you have it available. You can put it on your refrigerator. Just helps you put those meals together very quickly. As well as I've been using that 4-part budget meal formula over the past couple of Saturdays in the Saturday video. And also out there is the winter entertainment guide. And keep in mind, we've got Super Bowl just around the corner where you may be entertaining family, but also remember that technically we entertain every night. When
I think it was Coco that said we here. So
Yeah,
we said it
we're
right.
here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those kids sitting at what you want them to sit at the table and feel like they're special and
Mm-hmm.
they're the guest. And so it's nice to be able to make those plans and have everything all together for your family.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to be perfect.
Right. You don't need to be perfect, and your systems don't need to be perfect, but they do need to be supportive. They do need to support you in the ways that you need them to make them work for you. So, Leona, you got any other closing comments? You talked about your entertainment guide, your winter entertainment guide. And oh, are those linked in the description box? I
They
know I
are,
don't put them in here yet, but
yes.
send me the link so I can put them in the this description box as well.
Okay, I'll do that. And yes, they're in mine. And I also have Apron Diva in mine as well, because you all know I love my aprons and I love being able to switch them out. And, you know, that was one of the things I did when I was working on our baby steps of our pantry was I had to go through my aprons and
Mhm.
pull the Halloween that was still hanging, the Thanksgiving, all of those along the way and get back to refreshing my apron hooks. So that's special.
Well, and I like to let me just remind people too that Apron Diva has its end of the year sale on. So I think it's called Love Love First or Love, I don't know, Love Sale or something like that. My admin put it up there, but it's so cute the way she put it up there. So we do have these Valentine's aprons for sale, and the Valentine's Day is just around the corner. So
Mhm.
be sure to keep that in mind as well. So we've got that going on. And then be on the lookout for Miss Leona's printables. But I also put the printables, well, not the printable, but I put the information about the 4 pillars in the newsletters. So let me just find that. It's not the diagram like this,
Mhm.
but it's the 4 pillars that we have, which include food, time, home, and then money, and what falls underneath there. So you guys can have something to remember it. That is in my newsletter. So, and the newsletter will be linked in the description box below. So, if and it went out today. So those of you that are already on the list, you should get the newsletter today, and that will be in there. If not, then sign up for it and then we'll get it to you.
And you know, the nice thing about this diagram is that you can actually print it and put it in your planner in a
Mm-hmm.
place where you can refer to it also.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice to have.
And then Sierra's asking, does anyone have any planners they just love? She has one that she's enjoying. Leona, you want to talk about yours? I don't have
Well,
mine with me, but
well,
you go ahead and do yours first.
I do. I have one that I'm now on the second year of, and this is called Time Works Wonders, and it's actually in my Amazon store, and it is very nice. It's dated, and lots of colors that you can choose from, whatever it is that you like. But it has plenty of room. I can do everything I like to do. I can do the decorating. I can do the time blocking. I can do it whatever way I want.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's nice to be able to have a place I can actually put things in. And I've got things now sitting that I stuck in between that I know I need to secure. So I'll take about 10 minutes tomorrow and get everything put in that needs to go in. But you know, planners are important. So that's Time Works Wonders on Amazon. Very reasonable. And it comes the next day.
I have the Blue Skies vertical, not vertical, horizontal planner, and
Mhm.
it's got the daily and the weekly um, layout in it as well
Mhm.
as a monthly. So I've got that one. And then I also have I think it's the Passionate Penny Pincher Home Planner.
Mm-hmm.
I just got it, and my sister does a planner channel, so she's got them right now doing a review on them. But I said, look, I need my planners back because I need to work on them. So I'll be getting those back from her tomorrow so that I can use them because I've just been writing stuff in a little notebook, and I just feel kind of discombobulated because it's in my little notebook and not where I usually keep it. But yes, those are what I like. Oh, Coco,
Aw.
thank you. You
We
are,
are so happy to have you here tonight and hope you'll be
yeah.
back next week.
Yes, hopefully you'll be back next week. And you guys let us know how you like the new format we're rolling out. Now, we're not going to have shows every week where we have PowerPoint slides. We're not doing that every week.
No.
But we wanted to make sure that you guys could see the framework the way we want you to see it. We've been talking about it. We've been slowly warming up to it. But now that you've seen it, and so we want you to think about how you can become a modern home economist so that you can get more comfortable and cozy with all the various frameworks in your home, with all the various pillars in your home. Let me say that.
Also, there's a request for Mickey's channel name. If you
Oh, wait a minute.
wants to know her channel.
Oh, her channel is called, let's see. Oh, there it is. I put it here. Soft Pages Studio. She's just getting it started. So she's just got a few things up there right now. So
Okay, you did it. Okay.
let's see. There it is.
Okay.
Soft Pages Studio. Well, I didn't pay studio. I didn't type that right, but
Mhm.
you guys know what I mean. Soft Pages Studio. Studio spelled correctly. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else. Leona, do you?
I don't. I don't. I think we have covered everything we had planned for tonight. And actually, guys, just so you know, next week, all I'm going to say is that we're going to be actually in our kitchens. And so tune in because there's some things that we're going to be doing related to, of course, our modern home economist approaches.
Mhm.
And you're going to enjoy it. We're going to have a good time.
And let me just say too, your last video was amazing. So for you guys, if you guys have not seen Miss Leona's last video, I believe it was, and you were cooking like 3 different things.
Mhm.
I mean, she was working it in that kitchen. You guys have got to check out her last video. I was just sitting there in awe. So it was just really
Thank
amazing.
you.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
I really enjoyed it. So okay. Thank you guys for joining us. For those of you that are on the replay, comment according to all the different little questions we asked and let us know what it is you want to hear from us next time. For those of you that are on the chat, comment in the description, in the comment section below what you want to see from us next, and we will see you next time.
Next
Bye.
time, same station.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye.